Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands, and welcome to SP Reviews, where today we're going to be checking out a cover of a Mayday track by an act named HK Midnight, titled Our Battle Cry. And if we switch over to here, I have been told in advance that this may be a little bit controversial, so I'm here to review the music. You know, I'll talk about what I see and what I hear, but please be nice in the comments. Okay? We're going to listen through this track from start till finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go. I love that those woodwinds, those flute instruments with the plucked strings. And the guitar, man. And just the cymbal shimmers and everything like that. There's so much coming in almost immediately. There's so much to appreciate. And those synths are mixed really well into it, actually. It's charming. It's really nice to have the lyrics in English, just because I won't understand them natively if they're like in Mandarin, for example, you know? Or like Cantonese or something like that, you know? I like the guitar tones and the way they're sitting with the bass and the drums in there. There's a little bit of a roll-off that can sometimes happen when we upload stuff to YouTube, so I'm wondering if YouTube is affecting the audio quality a little bit. But it still sounds fantastic, and I do generally like the mix. The vocals are sounding nice and present as well. And this hook was a great transition there. Got no regret for this pride, yeah. We're just slamming it back into that main thing with the guitar riff and everything like that. Lots of love for that, man. Lots of love for that. Again, please be nice in the comment sections. If we look at like the actual instrumentation accompaniment behind the vocals, and just I love how present they are, and the fact that we're holding tune, we've got the vocal technique is there. You know, we sit nicely with everything else, I think, because we're stacked in the frequency spectrum above the lower half of the guitar, the bass and the drums. But there's also that wow, like the synthesizer in the background there. It's kind of stereo panned there, and it's got a glistening effect to it that makes it a little bit more positive and cheery and passionate, you know? It balances out the intensity of the vocals and everything else. Oh, that triplet slow dance to Oblivion. Yeah, that's pretty intense, pretty hectic. It seems like a terrible situation. You know, it's unimaginable. Like here in New Zealand, the worst we've had recently was people decided to set up camp on the parliamentary lawn for like a month. And they just sat there, built tents, and then when they got told to leave by police, they set fire to it. That's the worst we have here in New Zealand. You know, someone... Here, it's unimaginable what people overseas are going through with stuff at the moment, and it sucks. You know, when we talk about standing up for what we believe in and wanting to be with loved ones and stuff like that, and fighting for what you believe in, I can understand that. Great tremolo picking there as well. It was a nice development for what we had initially with the single pick notes there. The voice became a little bit more Potentially, it sounded kind of a little more frustrated as we went along, which makes sense for a solo, especially with what we've been discussing, the themes there. It's got a kind of like I can imagine this working well with like power metal or something like that. You know, if Dragon Force, because I don't know what Dragon Force write about. If Dragon Force wrote about this kind of stuff, you know, like just add a few more double kicks and a bit of unnecessary shred guitar, and you've got a Dragon Force song. Just with the way these chord progressions work here, there's no disrespect to the cover. I think it's fantastic, but it just reminded me of some of the kind of chord progressions you hear, like power metal and the uplifting lead guitar parts and the vocal style and everything like that. It does suit that genre well. World won't forget, won't forget who gave my blood its life. Damn, dude. Battle Cry got no regret for this pride. Fantastic work on the percussion as well. I haven't really spoken about the drumming much, but just keeping up with those crazy guitar riffs and the oomph for the vocals and everything like that, sitting there as such a supportive element. There's not too many fills. It's mostly kick, snare, and cymbal based, but at the same time, that's all we really need, right? In honor of those who lost their freedom, because this is my conclusion of my review of HK Midnight's Our Battle Cry, a cover of a Mayday song. I think that this cover was done with the best of intentions, and I believe in, you know, both the right and the authenticity of the performance and its purpose. It's really important that people can speak out about stuff that they believe in. You know, I firmly believe that the lyrics of the song that was sung, I mean, I'm not sure when this track originally came out. I've seen it in like Mayday Best Ofs or something like that from 1998 to 2013. And yeah, like to be fair, it is an English song of Mayday's, this song by Mayday, you know? Should I say? I've just realized that I've been saying Our Battle Cry. The original song by Mayday is called Song of Battle, so apologies for that. That was my bad. Yeah, I think this song is about fighting for what you believe in, never giving up, overcoming the obstacles to get to where you need to be, and believing in yourself and the future that you may have if you just keep pushing on. The vocal performance was fantastic. Singer had great pipes on him. Part of me wanted there to be vocal harmonies, but also if it's from the perspective as a vocalist of someone shouting what they themselves as an individual believe, it makes a lot of sense to maybe just have the one vocalist and not have the harmonies there. So that was cool. We wouldn't have vocal harmonies. You know, we had different moods that we exemplified. We sounded disappointed and frustrated in that interlude section after the second chorus, for example. But in the hooks, we were up there, we were passionate, we were belting it out. It sounded very emotionally appropriate for it. We sounded well within our chest voice there. We weren't pushing ourselves too much unnecessarily. From a performance perspective, and I've got no real complaints about it. The notes were hit pretty cleanly for the most part. Even if like there was a note that was slightly off occasionally, it doesn't really matter, because sometimes the best performances can be the ones where there's like a note slightly off. Because that's how you know when someone's truly feeling it. You know, you'll never. Have you seen those singers who like get really upset during their performances and they start to cry? I'm not saying this is deal with this singer, but have you seen vocalists on stage and they get like teary and they struggle to get the words out and the pitch is affected? That's because they're human, you know. And if we try and sanitize and just leave perfection behind it, I think that's the antithesis of what music is all about. So fantastic vocal performance there. I really enjoyed I wanted to follow the structure of the original as I understand it. The motifs there with the really catchy guitar riffs, they were phenomenal. Again, the drums were hitting all the right places, and the bass when it came in was nice and poignant. Filled in that low mid-res frequency spectrum really, really well. Nice and clean sounding without taking too much of the power out of the rest of the mix. I look at the synth parts as well that I mentioned enjoying as well. They're like a really subtle background element, but it's just so powerful and all the same, because you have, you know, these musicians that they go and they have enough with just the guitar, bass, and drums. There's most of punk, alt rock in like the 2000s and all that, but to know that kind of spacey, kind of synthetic texture to it, just to make it a bit more zazzy, is exactly what makes it that X factor, you know? And it's a shame when people are too conservative with their arrangements and don't want to get too many sort of synthetic electronic elements in there. It can really remove any opportunities for an even better overall sound. Finally, the recording, mixing, mastering, the production in general was really pleasant. I enjoyed my time with it. I don't have a lot of complaints about what I heard from this mix here. I'm not going to pretend that it was the absolute cleanest mix I heard, but I think part of that is because of the way that YouTube handles audio when people upload it. I think that you could hear all the different instruments equally individually in the mix, you know. In regards to EQing, most of it was absolutely fantastic. I am wondering if there's a little bit of a load of mid-resonance coming from like the bass and kicks, but the kicks were side-chaining the bass well, so that isn't an issue. I think it just had a lot of oomph and a lot of power behind it. You know, the stereo panning of the various instruments was great. The guitars were double tracked, which was what we needed. The lead guitars, and that's why I'm thinking it's a low to mid thing, because the lead guitar sounded splendid. And the vocals as well. The guy just had that mid range, so he was kind of like, his vocals were edging near those rhythm guitar parts. So there's a lot of low to mid energy in the mix that I think for that was handled well. But I'm just glad they did pay attention to the EQing, because I think that would have kind of killed it if we hadn't been as careful as we had about the EQing side of things. The limiting compression was great. You know, honestly, like HK Midnight, 104 subscribers. If you believe in what they're doing, please go show them some love. And again, if you have a difference of opinion, please be nice. Okay? The world's, there's just so much crazy stuff happening right now. The last thing we need is people getting all ratty at each other in the YouTube comments for like a video like this, where I just want to celebrate the efforts that musicians put into their craft. But effectively, this is my review of Song of Battle, or Our Battle Cry by HK Midnight. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show them some love via the various social medias and their YouTube page. Stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as either help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I'll catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.